Well, we're back again with the finals for the Challenger Cup this week. The relegations have been confirmed of the two teams moving on to face off against the SPL teams, which will be Risky Behavior and Sanguine as well. Same stories yesterday, though, Adonis. We saw the number one team coming into it after the weeklies getting knocked out and not going through to the SPL relegation fight.
Pretty incredible, actually. But I mean, you can tell all these teams have come prepared, honestly, for this event. It's, you can do your weeks worth of grind, but on the big stage, when relegations come up, you need to perform. And so far, we saw Sanguine and just most recently Risky Behavior as well. And I'm actually really excited about kind of the diversity these guys are going. I'm looking more towards Venenu and his Shifter Shield Hunter start.
I mean, for me, that's Dan's game. Dan's game. I just don't understand why he's doing that right now. Maybe it works out, but I think a lot of people at the moment is just like, why is this going to work? Why is this beneficial? And it just, for me, it's Dan's game.
I mean, we'll have to see if he pulls it out here in this match. I have to suspect he does. I mean, he played it on a variety of gods in the last set, so we'll see here as we get into game one of the finals, though. But this is going to be best of three, just like the other matches. Now, both of these teams, like you said, they're going to relegations. Now, how they do here, though, may determine, what team Envy wants to pick up or pick to face off.
I mean, they'll get an option, right, to face off which one they want to face off against first of all. We'll see how that works out for them. So, heads up for you guys at home as well between Sanguine and Risky. These two teams have met twice before in the weekly brackets, and they're 1-1 overall. So, there's not a real difference between the two. Obviously, overall, Sanguine did finish second with 155 points. Risky Behavior were sat at 135. So, just a slight lead there. But when they've actually played each other, they've been even.
It's been, and I think this is going to be a pretty close game. Both really showed promise there in the first couple sets. But the thing is, right, they're definitely they're definitely going to have to pick it up here coming into relegations in the next couple weeks. I mean, once they face off against the SPL teams, it's a whole nother world. Even the bottom tier SPL teams, you still see them play really well. Even Randozo's had some close games against kind of the higher seeded teams, able to take a couple games off them. And Envy, I mean, it's still a bunch of star players there. So these guys are really going to have to show up here in this match.
Well, let's go into it then. Picks and bans are ready, and the question is, who will be the Challenger Cup team to come out as number one after this long season for both of them? Risky Behavior will start things off with first pick, first ban.
Likely to see pretty standard bans here, I'd assume. Probably an Alquang, Raijin, Susano as well. Take kind of the top gods off the board.
And Sanguine, I mean, both these teams would have been able to look at each other over the season as well. They've probably seen some of these strategies come into it. They may have even scrimmed each other as well.
Because I'm sure
they weren't against each other during this important one of the semi-finals. And finals, obviously, is prize money based and maybe influences what relegation team will want to face them.
And apparently, a lot of these teams have been scrimming some of the SPL teams. I know Eager specifically had said that they had taken on some of them, Salsa Squadron, before they got picked up as well. And they said there's a lot of promise here.
Well, you mentioned as well there, Zatman actually said on Twitter today, why is nobody banning Salt against Sanguine? That's all they ever run.
There you go.
Risky Behavior, though, I'm going to answer that immediately and be like, no, we will ban out that Sol. You're not going to be able to pick it up for Covi this time.
First pick Athena, though. Athena has kind of risen in and out of being in this first pick position. The thing with Athena is you can never go wrong with drafting her. She has global presence with her ultimate, as well as one of the easiest ways to get a massive amount of hard CC off with no startup time.
Solid all round, really. I mean, her laning phase as well isn't the weakest out of all the Guardians, too. So for the most part, pretty medium pick. And then obviously mid-game, those taunts can be so beneficial just to burn the purification over and over again.
And I think the Risky Behavior strategy is going to be determined here in the next two picks. The Athena is really a setup tool. Sanguine, though, they draft the Cabrakan, who has risen to prominence recently, and Ratatoskr left open as well.
And Ratatoskr will go through. We see the high mobility, a little bit like Thor, I want to say, in terms of ability of like rotations, but damage-wise different. Hades, early pick, and that's going to make Sanguine think about where that Cabrakan's going, because right now it should be for the solo lane, but you don't want to walk into a Hades there.
And we saw this earlier, right? The Hades pick into the Cabrakan, or at least the bait, forcing that Cabrakan to go into the jungle instead. Just a really strong counter, and there's the Scylla. The Scylla-Athena combo, bread and butter. It's the easiest god that Scylla can set up with.
And the best thing is, if Purification is burnt by Athena, that allows Hades just to get in there and find the ultimate as well, just keep them pinned in. Khepri, though, is going to be the response from this from Sanguine, and I like this pickup of the Khepri here. Gives them a bit of dominance in the duo lane, as well as that revive in case people do get hit by the massive amounts of damage from those three already drafted.
Venenu having his Scotty actually target banned against him. We don't see this too often. Even in the Pro League, we saw, I think, maybe one or two Scotty bans.
A Hebo ban?
And that was against, who was it? Ataraxia, I think, or excuse me, Emilito.
A Hebo ban?
I mean, that's targeted, right? I guess Sanguine, right? You know, a little bit worried about Covi there in the mid lane, so they're going to ban that out. Vamana as well, so switching over to the solo lane. That tells me that Cabrakan's probably going solo there.
I mean, yeah, he's going to have to go solo, but the Hades has already been drafted as well.
That's
so
weird.
I'm not understanding why they actually banned the Vamana there, did Sanguine, because Hades already locked in as well.
Maybe a throwaway?
Hoi for Sanguine this time round as well. That'll go over to FaymousHate. And Risky Behavior, need that AD carry here, and then whatever they're going to round this out with, more than likely a jungler. Unless it's going to be Athena.
Couple options here. They could go for the Hunbats just for a massive amount of CC, right? They already have the Scylla, the Hades, and the Athena. I mean, that's so much control in team fights. Sanguine, that's a little bit harder to get their control off. And it's going to be a Nemesis instead, so they're really looking to pick off one of these players. Probably the Cabrakan with this composition that Risky's drafted.
Don't really mind that actual Nemesis pickup in this game either. With the Athena and Hades, the amount of control you said in those first 3 picks, Nemesis with her lack of control to an extent, just the slows influencing that, but does allow a lot of burst damage because the protection just shredded as well. Good mobility to be able to chase down some of these targets that may escape.
Last pick coming here for Sanguine, looking for a mid laner, unless they're going to run something crazy. I don't think they will here in the finals. A couple options open. They're going to go Chronos, so a little bit of safety there.
Safety all around through that squad, really. Multiple ways of escaping situations that they could get themselves tied up in, as well as the Khepri for the revive too. Sanguine gone for the relatively safe but late game option with this composition, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, once the Chronos and the Hoi get online, they're going to do so much damage. And we saw FaymousHate, you know, in his earlier matches, just on the Hoi, just go on a tear. And this is a guy who's played at the SPL level, right? He played for, it was Cognitive last year in the summer split. He performed very well individually. Unfortunately, you know, the team doesn't work out as a whole. But this guy, I mean, he's been on the big stage.
Well, Mangoh here on the Hades as well at the start of the game. Going to be in the solo lane, playing that Hades, but started power pot. So he's looking to be very, very aggressive early on in this lane. And to be fair, he's going to do that against Cabrakan anyway, but this is just going to push it even harder on Cabrakan under the tower.
And we saw Mangoh actually go into the Mogao style of Hades builds, where he got that Warlock Sash and then immediately goes into the Thoth too, just the double stacking massive power.
Look at the map though right now. Sanguine are grouped up on this right-hand side. 2 members are there right now. Mexiety and Medieval, both
I think they know
waiting.
though. Look at the pings. So you can see actually 4 wards placed very early by the Athena, and I think they caught the Cabrakan Ratatoskr coming down. Look at this. Fates knows it's happening. He's just going to go say hello to Medieval, but the buffs have already spawned, and I mean, the Hades Nemesis, they can't really fight this at all.
They can, but respect the Hades auto attacks at level 1. He's one of the only ranged ones out of the 3 of them here, and if you can just stand at the back and just whack on them, it'll be fine. So now, no buffs are actually being pulled by either team. Minion waves are coming into the right-hand side. Mid laners have taken their red buff and meeting mid lane at the same time.
And it doesn't seem like anyone's going to get those buffs on the right-hand side. Fates was kind of looking around, and I think this is a win for Risky Behavior. They can't really fight this 2v2, so instead, make sure you get lane control with the Hades, and you should outclear the Cabrakan Ratatoskr, and you can see that happening just now.
I can completely agree with that, although Mangoh played it relatively safe with the damage there coming out. He didn't go to the whole minion wave, so just playing this very far back. And actually, this minion wave's going to go down about the same period, so still we're going to see this freeze here. Both mid laners are now at the fire elementals.
And they're going to be battling over them. I have to say the Scylla's probably going to get them. We didn't see who got them on screen, but take a look at Chronos' experience
I'm pretty
here.
sure it's yeah, it's Shaliber there.
Actually, Chronos got more of them.
No. Okay.
At least one more.
So still pretty even between the 2 there. Over to the duo lane, you can see things continuing over here. Killateral and Venenu just pushing in this way, which is quite surprising with obviously the Khepri on that side to have that much control.
Probably a little bit late to lane would be my main assumption there. And now Fates and Mangoh, now that they have that lane control, they're going to be able to steal this blue. And look at this, the Ratatoskr already half life. He can't really contest this.
Cabrakan does have a lot of damage on him, and Mangoh trying to hold some of his abilities here to try and clear this one. But the stun does connect into the Nemesis, and IFates under a lot of pressure, being aggressed by Mexiety as well. And Mexiety is looking for the kill, but the dash away from Fates is good.
He's got his Acorn Blast, though, and he's going to find the stun on the Mangoh. He's just trying to get away, and I don't know if there's the dash up, actually, for the Hades. I'm sure he got the silence, and look at this. He's being pinched by 3. There's the dash just over the wall, but Cabrakan's waiting. He's got the stun. Needs one more hit, the Seismic Toss, and there it is, first blood.
And now the Tremors are going to force the dash out of IFates as well, and it was all Risky Behavior, going aggressive for the blue buff, not going to find it. Now Covi on this rotation, he's costing himself a mid-wave of experience in mid, however, but he's going to help out his team get this blue and potentially the speed as well.
And I believe Mexiety actually secured the blue buff for his team as well. No, excuse me, Fates did pick it up. So there is that trade out there, and overall the buffs are even, but that first blood to the Cabrakans going to make his laning phase much easier against this Hades, who's got off to a slow start.
Well, the best news for Fates is his speed buff wasn't invaded, so he will be able to pick it up on that Nemesis. Slightly delayed, still only level 3, as you can see the mid laners, both level 5 already. It slowed down both these junglers from being involved involved. And as a Nemesis, that's not something you really want.
Very awkward start, and both these junglers really want to force the issue. They really want to gank. The Nemesis, you know, once everyone's 5, she just follows up off the Athena and Scylla, and it's a guaranteed kill, unless someone, you know, has their escape up. And Mexiety, I mean, on Ratatoskr, right, the global presence, you like to get around and force as many fights as you can.
Good pull into Venenu there. The follow-ups there with the Rachetier too. Killateral just out of range to get involved in that, now rooted, and the sun's dropping down. And it actually might be Killateral for the second kill of the game. Yes, it will be. Just trying to support his Hunter that got caught out.
That was unfortunate. You saw him go forward and try and body block after he got plucked by Khepri. Unfortunately, though, he doesn't have time to charge up his dash. The sun's come down. He slowed in just a couple more basics.
And it goes over to Hou Yi as well, so FaymousHate going to get that Transcendence online a little bit earlier now and gets a bit more of an advantage in that lane.
Hades level 5 now. Actually, even despite the first blood, only down by about 150 gold, and this is kind of what you expect from the Hades. He's going to be able to full clear the wave here in about a level or 2 with just 2 abilities, so he's not too worried about this Cabrakan having that early gold.
I will say that power pot was negated, though, on his side. He started with that one, and it's not really paid off for him. You can see that Medieval's had pretty good control of this lane so far, and Mangoh having to play it safe. And talking across the way, Fates as well on that Nemesis did fall down. Did get the aggression on early on, so that power pot's still ticking, whereas his opponent, well, different story for Mexiety.
Hasn't really had the ability to use it yet, and at the very least, he is going to have that increased farming, just doing a little bit more damage to the creeps, but I don't think IFates really wants to force anything anytime soon. They're probably going to wait for the Athena to really start rotating and forcing the issues. I don't think we're going to see IFates combined in a 2v2 scenario.
I think that's the key for Killateral here on the Athena. Obviously up against Ratatoskr. Going to have to be on point with those ultimates across the map to counter gank or counter initiate and just protect those carries that get engaged on.
And he's 5, right? He can counter engage. Actually, Risky Behavior do have a pretty solid counter engage, but Mexiety might be trying to force something here in the middle, but Fates recognizes him, and he's just going to make sure to soak up the experience for now. The buffs here going to be spawning soon. You can see the blue buff on the right-hand side, the first one to go in that duo lane. Or, excuse me, in the solo side was picked up.
I believe that blue buff on the right and the back for Medieval is still available right now. I'm not sure if that just respawned. It did, didn't it? Yeah, because that was the very first one and the right one after that. The ping's actually going down already from Sanguine there. Medieval,
they want to invade.
Clearly leading the charge for this.
They don't really have the timer just yet. They're about 15 seconds too early. Hades is going to recognize this, and this is actually 4 members rotating over onto the right-hand side. Mangoh knows something's going on, and Risky Behavior, they could look to force the Gold Fury, but instead they want to counter-engage.
Well, they just need to wait around a little bit, because at the moment Scylla and Nemesis were both farming up the mid lane there, and a tower wave that Covi had pushed in, and now the members of Sanguine all grouped up together at the blue buff.
And there's the taunt there, forced out the purification, and now Covi's got to retreat, but it's going to be Medieval going aggressive. He gets Nim ulted, but he's still by himself. He's actually fine, and actually they're going to turn around on IFates. He's got the Athena ult on top of him, and it's just going to be a disengage from both teams, it seems.
It's not terrible play from either, really. Sanguine were looking for something. They're going to try and find the speed buff, but still Risky Behavior hanging around, and obviously with that with that Scylla ultimate and the Hades ultimate available, could be very difficult to contest.
They still want this speed. Shaliber actually has used all of his abilities, so he's not going to be able to stop, but here goes Mangoh, dashing forward, misses the silence on the important targets, but Fates is isolated on the backside. Medieval has no mana to secure this kill. There's the rewind from Covi as well, and now Mangoh's in a lot of trouble.
He is in a lot of trouble. For how long? He's going to be able to duck down, but not in time. I'm a Monster goes off, doesn't confirm a kill though, and Mexiety picks up the kill on Mangoh. Still going in though is Mexiety looking for the pick, but the shield comes up in time for Fates to turn it around. Covi, however, answers back immediately.
So far, just a 1-for-1, excuse me, a 2-for-1. Sanguine comes out on top of that, but just barely. That root from Khepri guaranteeing Covi picks up the extra kill on top of it. Sanguine comes out overall, but not by much. Honestly, Risky Behavior doing a really good job overall of defending their buffs.
Well, did they get their own speed buff though? I don't think they did. It was stolen away, so
no one picked it up.
I guess it was relatively in Sanguine's favor there.
At the very least, though, they're not letting Sanguine just walk in, steal their buffs, and walk out. They're trying to trade, and that fight almost went in their favor. If Khepri doesn't hit that root, I mean, you see the extra player get out.
Completely agree. Left-hand side, though, Transcendence is stacking up for FaymousHate here, already up to 26 stacks. His lane opponent, Venenu, obviously, with that Shifter's Shield, this game one more time round, it's just been a core item for him. It's a starting item that he likes going for, clearly.
I mean, sorry, I wanted to see if the Khepri was going to get one. I can't tell if he did.
I think
it was
one.
It was close, but yeah, so here's the thing about the Shifter Shield. It's going to give you 60 power when you're above 50% health, but that's only activated depending, and he doesn't have any lifesteal, so if Venenu gets poked out, he's only going to be sitting at the base 40. It's really about the protections. Damage-wise, Transcendence is going to no pun intended, transcend this significantly once those stacks are online. And then you can see at 32, I mean, it's already there. The boots are going to be equal, but the thing is, Venenu is going to be a little bit safer just because of those bonus protections. And in a lot of scenarios where Mexiety might think he has a guaranteed kill with the dive, he won't actually be able to confirm that.
We'll see if it works out for him, because it's worked out well enough for him to get himself to the finals here in the Challenger Cup. And now, at the moment, still 0-0 in the lane. However, FaymousHate picking up that kill earlier on onto his teammate Killateral, just gave him that small advantage.
The big thing right now is that all the buffs on the map are actually staggered. You very rarely see this. Sometimes you'll see the red and the speed staggered, but the speeds and the blues are generally on the same timer. Now, even on Order and Chaos side, everything is crazy. And I don't think any one person right now has been able to keep track of all the buffs, which means that invading is actually going to be even more difficult, because you could look to pressure out jungle camps, but they just might not be spawned.
Well, IFates heading around to the right-hand side here, and you see Killateral thinking about channeling his ultimate, coming over here if he needs to. Ping goes down from Mangoh there, just to say there's a ward on that left-hand side, just near where IFates is stood, so he can't go further around. And Medieval has an idea, something's going on just by Mangoh tanking those creeps from that range.
Yeah, and that's actually the kind of a tell of a really good solo laner, when they recognize when their opponent's playing a little bit differently than normal. And there it is, though. Medieval, though, still going to fall for the bait, goes forward here. He's locked in top.
And he's trying to do what he can to turn this one around, but it's not going to be enough. Athena comes over as well with the ultimate. They were aggressing on mid lane there onto Shaliber, but Shaliber actually did a good job just slowing down the rotation of Sanguine a little bit by looking like he was out of position.
And Mexiety actually burns his ultimate as well, trying to get over there, but that's one of the problems about this Cabrakan, that he doesn't really have a way to get out of this Hades ult. And if he gets picked off in any scenario, I mean, he's just going to be shredded through, especially if Mangoh goes the same build style he did last time, where he goes into this Warlock Sash and then Book of Thoth. Now, obviously, it's not the most damage, and it doesn't leave you as tanky as possible, but because Cabrakan doesn't really do good with sustained damage, he's more about, I'm going to burst you, the Hades will be tanky enough at base to survive his combo.
Collateral level 8, his lane opponent there, Rachetier, only at level 9, a little bit further ahead at the moment in terms of the farming, which you generally expect with the rotations, though. Collateral with that first death to his name as well. Back to the honor roll, and once again, you'll just see them continuing to farm up here. It's about that stage, though, these two could actually begin fighting, because they're both at around the power spike mark.
And that's the thing, right, is that probably Hou-Yi wins this, especially with Transcendence, but Venu's going to be a little bit tankier. So he's going to buy more time if he is losing the boxing match, and then once he gets below that 50% threshold, he's going to be even harder for FaymousHate to kill, because he doesn't have any penetration yet.
Oh, good response coming out from Venenu there after being hit by the Ricochet. Nemesis follow up, Desert Fury through the wall. Great combo coming out from Risky Behavior, and that was just IFates throwing it over the wall at the correct time to shred the protections.
And honestly, Venenu, right, he actually lines up almost every single hit on Desert's Fury. That's not the easiest ability to line up, but he knows exactly the path that FaymousHate's going to go, and he hits every single tick.
Covers the option perfectly, and a nice little easy pickup for Risky Behavior. Can't go for the Gold Fury though, because wall coverage is good from Sanguine and plenty of members around for the time being. You even see the rotation coming out from Medieval there, just in case they thought about going for it.
And yeah, so I'm going to be a little bit surprised if either of these teams really try and force a Gold Fury without getting picks first. But I have to say, Risky Behavior is probably the better team at securing it, right? Yeah. Not only do they have Killateral to taunt and guarantee that someone's going to be CC'd if they try and contest, but they also have Shaliber. I'm a Monster, one of the better secures from Mage Ultimates. It just does so much damage.
Yeah, you can confirm at the right time. Absolutely perfect for them. As you'd expect, though, this game is relatively even between the two teams at this stage of the game. They went even throughout the season, and they're going even right now.
And yeah, I mean, it gets started off with Sanguine finding that first blood, but Risky Behavior, they've done a really good job positioning-wise, mostly to combat Sanguine's aggression, especially on that right-hand side where we saw the blue buff being looked at, we saw the speed buff being looked at. They could have looked to try and force a Gold Fury, but instead they just positioned themselves next to the tower defensively. Anytime Sanguine pushes forward, they make sure to retreat and then reassess.
And I think I'm really looking at Mangoh this game for the side of Risky Behavior. On this Hades up against, obviously, the Cabrakan here, and this was a counter pick, like all the way through, and Sanguine kind of got baited into this because they picked a jungler and a solo. Aggression here in the mid lane, but Fate's going to be able to just walk away quite happily alongside Shaliber as well.
You see Covi there trying to read that IFates was going to take that left turn, but he runs just straight down his jungle there. Nice attempt from Covi here. He's actually gone into a very early demonic... Is that a Telekines or a demonic grip?
Pretty sure it's Telekines.
Is it Telekines?
I believe
I mean,
so.
early game, I mean, that's a pretty massive spike.
Taunt from Killateral, followed by the ultimate, followed by the crush, and Covi's in a world of hurt, but straight away, Rachetier answers back with the ultimate to make sure they're not going to continue on. Man fight over in the duo lane, though, is Venenu going at it one more time with FaymousHate, and this time it's still even, but Athena's on the way.
Oh, with the Athena, there's no way he gets out of this. It's just going to be a matter of time. Athena ult is going to damage FaymousHate, and the secure onto the impale there from Venenu. Once again, Venenu getting the better of FaymousHate, but FaymousHate just... Honestly, that was his fault for not respecting that Athena ultimate.
And was it more the fact that he didn't understand how much damage that Venenu could undertake?
No, I think it was the
shield?
Athena ult, right? Because maybe he can win that without the Athena ult, but once that comes down, it's over. Gold Fury now attempted by risky behavior, and now Mexiety actually up into the sky, going to try and get down here and contest, and it's actually going to be a reset.
It's a good little play coming out from Mexiety because he's allowing his team to rotate in as well. Now going to retreat back, but gets taunted immediately, forced to purify away. Crush just off the mark there from Shaliber, who was trying to follow up onto Mexiety, but Gold Fury pulled one more time.
They still want to do it. It's actually getting pretty low. Shaliber has I'm a Monster, but hasn't gone into it. Risky behavior are going to steal it, or secure it, excuse me. But honestly, that was a little bit risky. I'm really surprised I'm a Monster didn't come out to secure that.
I mean, that's their behavior. They're supposed to do that.
I have no idea why they didn't have their highest damaging ability ready, but they still get it anyway. And now Cabrakan actually a little bit by himself here. He's going to have to run away.
Unless he gets silenced by Mangoh. That's the question. Ult comes out, taunt as well. Crush connects, but he's still very tanky. And he gets the burst off of Mangoh. Great pickup for Sanguine here. They're looking for more with Rachetier, but he's not going to be able to find what he was after, which was the abduct on Shaliber.
Still no ult from Shaliber. I mean, he's holding this ultimate so much. I think he's trying to focus more on reset kills than actually looking to just get damage off in fights, and because of that, that's going to be a tier 1 picked off. Really good job by Medieval, though, recognizing that he was going to be tanky enough and finding that turnaround kill.
Yeah, Sanguine did a very good job of answering back to the Gold Fury that just lost there as well. Over on the right, though, Covi rotating and looking to steal away that blue buff. Not sure if he's successful, but I'll tell you what he was successful in is getting the purification out of IFates.
You can see Fates was really annoyed there. He actually went towards Covi there, trying to joust him. Mid lane, though, Venenu once again going to find FaymousHate under that tower, and actually FaymousHate going aggressive with Mexiety, but here comes the Athena ult once again, and this could be a turnaround if Killateral could find it.
He just get hit by that impale as well, but the purification immediately to get away from the Stunify. He was definitely dead, and Venenu doing great work with the support of Killateral to 2v2 that fight, where Venenu was the one in trouble first.
Venenu is just a man, right? He holds his jump for so long, recognizing that he's going to be able to get out, reassess. Also, a lot of respect for him not going too aggressive in that situation and trying to chase the kill onto Famous.
Oh, Rachetier under pressure there. We're going to get away over the right-hand side, though. Medieval a little bit too far forward there and gets picked by IFates and Mangoh combining.
He did get a tower before that, though, so probably an equal trade-off there. Probably not worth too much gold at this time. He's got Dynasty Plate Helm and the Winged Blade online, so not the most damaging Cabrakan build, but the base stats are good enough that he just needs kind of that extra pin and movement.
I like the Winged Blade coming out as well because it will help against Mangoh a little bit to try and escape that ultimate and just run for the edges if he can find it.
It'll help him against IFates more than anyone.
Covi trading up with IFates a little bit more, and Covi respecting the fact that IFates can do a lot. Going to rewind to full health though and continue the chase because of it. Mexiety with him, but decides not to continue.
IFates gets out there just barely though, trying to joust off against Covi there. Does force the rewind, so overall a win for him, and he doesn't actually burn his ultimate. Still down on cooldown.
And still even in this game, 15 minutes in now, 5-5 gold is absolutely dead even with only one Gold Fury down so far. It's been a very interesting game between these two, and there's not a lot in it.
There's really just been a lot of fighting, and I don't want to say mistakes. I think it's just been people are staying so long, and all these fights are so staggered that it's like, I've been fighting, I've almost got him killed. Oh, wait, now the guy who he first killed is respawning. I'm
actually starting to favor risky behavior here for one simple reason, is when I look at the levels of these teams, it's the Hunters that are the highest level, and guess who's winning these trades between the Hunters? As I say that, Venenu starting to lose one a little bit. Mid lane, the ultimate forced out by Bachelor on to actually
trying to get out.
Damage
He's actually really low here. The Athena ult comes down as well, and here's actually a teleport. Medieval actually going aggressive, is going to isolate Shaliber, and he's trying to get away, but the stun from Mexiety should secure it. Mangoh's rotating in as well, but now he's surrounded by 3. Just going to back up there with IFates, and it's going to be a reset, but Sanguine finding that Scylla.
And while that's happening, look at the left-hand side. Venenu, full health, going to be able to continue popping down the tower. FaymousHate forced to ult defensively to clear the wave and get back to bases. Venenu managed to push him all the way out there.
I mean, at this point, he's just so far behind in golds individually between those two. Actually, it's only 700, but I think it was a tier 2.
Look at the levels of the Hunters against the solo laners.
That's great. I mean, we saw what happened in the solo lane, though. I mean, it was kind of a lot of back and forth there. They lost a lot of farm early game, and then there was a lot of running around in that jungle.
And so because of that, Venenu quite happy to roam around here. Going to find Covi in the mid lane. Covi now recognizes it, gets impaled back nastily into dangerous territory, but he's got no follow-up from him. So Venenu going to relocate, but he's got Mexiety in the sky.
I don't know if he's going to come down on this. Actually, he's putting himself in a position to. Misses the knockup, should find the stun there, and there it is. The protection shred is strong for now, but Venu's actually just man-fighting this right now, not scared at all. Mexiety, he's got to back off. Medieval's made the rotation in as well, but Mangoh's right behind him, along with Killateral.
But now there's a taunt onto Medieval as well, so going to allow Venenu to put a bit more poke out, but Killateral's not tanky enough just yet to avoid that burst damage and survive. And in the end, he'll go down after taunting in.
I mean, this team's got to start respecting this Cabrakan, right? Just, he dashes forward into 4 members of Sanguine. They just Cabrakan wall him off, and Cabrakan could have had 0 damage there, and he still would have died.
Well, now they're all grouping up on the left-hand side. Sanguine, they've got minion waves coming too, and nobody is here to respawn. They're going to just have to give up this tier 1 tower.
It looks like they're actually going to go for a split push there. You can see the Anhur over on the left-hand side, but Medieval, he already recognizes what was going to happen, and he's there to defend.
Straight
actually going to go aggressive on a Shaliber, who's just tanking this damage. He's got to get out.
Yeah, he does manage to get out just about in time there, but now he's definitely out of the fight, and the fight is pushed towards mid lane from Sanguine here.
Mexity's in the sky. I think he's trying to find Shaliber. Oh, no, he's not.
He's not in the sky.
Was
But
he in the
Gold
sky?
Fury
I thought it was.
is about to spawn, has just respawned as Venenu and Risky Behavior try to secure their red buff. They need to get over to that Gold Fury soon, because I don't think it'll take too much time with a Chronos and a Hou-Yi.
They're starting to shred right now, 50% on the Gold Fury. Venu's here, along with Killateral. Killateral's got to be the aggressor, but it's actually been a reset coming out from Sanguine. They're going to look to pick off Killateral. Mexity's in the sky, and he's going to find a 3-man knockup. Killateral the first to fall now. Venu's still man-fighting, trying to return, and he does get it with the help of IFates, but it's not enough right now, and it looks like Sanguine, they're going to win 1-for-1 so far, and
Mangoh's very low though. Mangoh's going to be very careful here. Aggressed on there by the Khepri, but Khepri impaled by Venenu one more time. FaymousHate and Venenu picking up a kill each, and the fight continues. Medieval giving chase onto IFates.
Fates by himself, and it looks like going to be a reset overall. Once again, though, Risky Behavior comes out on top, 2 for 2, just barely, but they at least reset that Gold Fury from Sanguine. And it seems like both teams aren't respecting kind of the star players right now, or who's been the star. Not a lot of respect for Cabrakan on the side of Risky Behavior, kind of letting him run around, and then Venenu. I mean, this guy right now, 3-0-1. I don't like the shifter shield, but it's working.
I don't do it. Like I said, dance game, but it's working. I just don't understand why it's so potent and being so useful for him.
I want to hear what he has to say about it.
Maybe it's his style.
Maybe. I mean, he's tankier, right? And you could see him in a lot of situations just kind of standing there and fighting. No real fear.
Because most of the time when you talk about hunters, you want to talk about survivability, but overall damage.
Yeah, this is clearly a DPS loss, right?
Yeah.
Just in comparison to Transcendence. But in a lot of situations, you're staying alive, and maybe that's what he respects more.
He's having a bit more confidence about himself because of that shifter shield, clearly, to take on some of the fights he's been doing so far and making an impact as well. 3-0-1. Top player damage as well is the biggest thing to talk about there at 19 minutes in.
Fates, oh, he's dead. He's actually just dead. Just really nice combination there from Medieval, caging him in, but it looks like another fight over this Gold Fury. I think Venenu was starting it up, but he's been reset, a little bit scared, and backs off.
A little bit too worried. Mangoh, though, is going into lane, and he's not seeing there's people behind him right now. He's still not seeing it. Now he has, and now he's going to try and pick an option to escape. Is he going to go over the wall? It's probably the best option for him, but guess who's waiting there? Cabrakan is around, so Mexiety putting some poke pressure down onto Mangoh, and Mangoh just having to weather the storm for now, but the thing is, Cabrakan is still there.
And there's the stun. I mean, that's just going to be another clean kill. Actually gets a little bit of a heal off, and it's bought time for a rotation, actually, from the rest of Sanguine, and they're in position to take this tier 2 right now. Mexiety, though, just going to back off. I'm a little bit, so Mangoh actually there, he probably should have started running. He tried to kite around the Ratatoskr way too much instead of just running straight and taking a couple guaranteed hits to get to his tower.
Well, now the tier 2 tower is going to fall on the right-hand side because of that group up by Sanguine. Still risky, trying to answer back with that tier 1 tower in the mid lane, where you can see Shaliber over there in Killateral, but Shaliber will be able to get this, but he may pay with his life.
He's going to die. I mean, he'll be able to maybe get out, but look at this. He's running straight into Medieval. Mexiety in the sky again. There's the knockup, and there's the rest of Sanguine.
But the fight is still on because there's Athena coming in too, and Athena does come down, but Shaliber still surrounded, trying to juke out, will fall, and now it's Killateral trying to get away from the team as reinforcements are coming, but can they get there to help?
It seems like they're just going to focus on this Gold Fury for now. Venenu has actually taken up Scylla's mantle. They're going to be split pushing that tier 2 in mid. Rachetier actually looks like he wants to go and stop him, but he's not going to be here if IFates wants to contest this, and it seems like he does.
Trying to burst it down as quick as they can, and IFates is just walking around the corner now, but it's too little too late as the sun drained down. Sanguine get the Gold Fury, and and they take the first established lead of this game.
About 4,000 now in the lead. Finally, you could really start to see Sanguine piece together this victory, and it's really just been a pickoff at a time, right?
Yep.
It really hasn't been risky behavior losing any fights. They just had these players a little bit out of position, just like Killateral.
Killateral full comboed and deleted off the map.
Just
Medieval
walks into
didn't
the whole
need
team
the
there.
ultimate there, but just made sure they get the kill. And this is just pickups, and the fact that Sanguine have grouped earlier. That's all it is. Sanguine grouped quicker and have made it count.
Yeah, and you know, you can choose not to group if you're risky, try and extend the laning phase as long as you want, but the problem is they don't really have the ward coverage in their rotation, so you see these players just rotate in, and they're just surprised. They're caught off guard by the Cabrakan mostly. Medieval has been around the map the most of any player in this game.
And Mangoh on the Hades, I mean, when he's been in the fights against the Cabrakan, it's worked out well, but he has been bursted a few times.
I don't know if he even has a lot of damage online. I don't think he's really been doing too much.
Double stacking.
7K. Yeah, and this is a slow ramp up Hades, but the problem is this works when you're a solo laner who gets a ton of XP and your base protections are just higher because you're 3 to 4 levels higher than everyone. But because he's behind, this build is going to come back to bite him.
Venenu forced to purify and gets leapt on by FaymousHate. Root just off the mark. There's Khepri giving chase, but second comes out. Desert Fury as well. FaymousHate turned on. Good meditate coming out though to keep him sustained, but now Fates is here.
And looks like the ultimate's still online for Rachetier. He is going to pop it on himself. And Mexiety to the back, but Shaliber, he's looking for the reset. He waited out the whole Khepri ult. There's the taunt, but he actually doesn't combine for it. He hits no one, and he actually falls to Covi instead.
Covi just picks it up cleanly. Now Covi's still going aggressive onto Venenu, who's still standing his ground like a man as usual. Now comes over Mangoh on the Hades, looking for the silence, not going to find it. And Sanguine disengaged, but Cabrakan's here.
He's got his ultimate too, but he needs the rest of his team, and you can see actually Sanguine chasing out on the left-hand side. They're going to look to Venenu. He's actually been the main problem. Finds the stun there. Mexiety going to combine there. A little bit of a heal coming out from the Soul Eater, and he can't actually get to his team in time, it seems.
And Medieval just cleans up the kill with the help of Covi there just to secure it for him. Mangoh disengaging. Killateral caught off by the wall one more time, and Medieval is just reading them like a book every time.
5, 2, and 8. I mean, this Cabrakan has really been the bane of risky behavior right now. So many lockoffs onto the key targets, mostly Killateral. And at this point, it's really hard when he gets into these engagements because he's 5 levels behind Medieval. He's 6 levels behind Covi, and they're just shredding him. He's not tanky enough.
Well, right now, there's only 1 tower remaining for risky behavior to defend on this left-hand side and on the map, but I don't think anyone's going to be here in time to stop it. Fate's coming around the back, though, maybe looking for something as Medieval's tanking it up, but once again, Mangoh going aggressive on the Hades.
Looks like he's going to ult there in place, but it seems like Mexiety actually going to be able to get out. Famous already taken out Mangoh, and Fate's trying to dive, but he's not going to be able to find it. Tower falls, Mexiety in the sky. He could go aggressive, but he just backs off with the rest of his team. And once again, risky behavior. They force these fights, you know, a couple members down, and they just lose one at a time.
And you saw that fight as well. I mean, it was Mangoh that engaged there, and Sanguine pick up the kill and the tower. They get everything they came for. This is just slowly just got out of hand, and risky behavior not had an answer to any of this.
Yeah, it's really been, the game was pretty even till, what, the 12th minute? And it's just been this slow bleed where one player gets picked off, then a second, they lose a tower, then another player gets picked off, then another player gets picked off, then they lose another tower. And now, I mean, we're 24 minutes in, still no towers really left open for risky, right? I mean, they've lost all their towers. They've only taken a couple tier 1s off of split pushes, but they've typically lost more than they've gained in those scenarios.
Sanguine just look very, very good at the communication team fighting part of this. They've grouped up nicely together, picked them apart. Now they can head over to the fire john. You can see them just waiting around the corner, looking for a potential pick if they can find one, on somebody rotating in to keep an eye if it's being done.
Yeah, this is definitely the next look for Sanguine. Really nothing else to do. I think they're just baiting the fight more so than committing.
Yeah.
I mean, if risky behavior don't come in, they'll take the fire giant for free. But at this point, they're so far behind, they can't risk losing this as well.
Well, the abduct wasn't great there coming out from Khepri. Now Khepri's under a bit of pressure, but round the back is Medieval dissuading the issue. And now Mexiety's in the sky, going to dunk down onto the Scylla, who's using the Armor Monster and doesn't actually cast it, so doesn't get any of that damage off.
Shaliber just has not been on point there with his positioning kind of in most of these engagements. And actually, Venenu, though, going to get a tier 2 on the left-hand side. This might be time for risky behavior to just kind of concede this FG.
Well, he won't get the Phoenix, though, because Mexiety has gone back to try and defend that one. Collateral still getting pressured out as IFates swings around, looking for Covi for a bit of pressure, but Mangoh with the ultimate onto 2 targets. There's no follow-up damage, though, to really confirm anything on those tanks, and those tanks will survive.
Venenu actually able to take out Mexiety and tank up the Phoenix at the same time. Mexiety doesn't want to give this up for free. He does have a little bit of a heal into his Acorn Blast, but it's not going to be the easiest thing, and he's not going to get any help, but it doesn't matter. Shaliber's already been picked off on the right-hand side. There goes the Suns as well, and Medieval inside the Tremors finds Collateral with the help of FaymousHate, and Mangoh, he jumps over, but he's getting chased down.
Meanwhile, man fight between the two over here. The assassin having to run away from Anhur. Lion beats Rat.
That bulwark just saving his life, but FaymousHate might have dove a little bit too deep trying to chase out another kill, but he's got help from Medieval. IFates going aggressive, trying to find Famous, just one more hit, but he jumps in place. He's got the Khepri ult on top of him, doesn't need the reset. Face is already caught.
Followed up as well, and the damage from Covi is just too much for Face to survive. But Mangoh turns up, but recognizes on his own.
One at a time, man. They just keep going one at a time in every single fight. I mean, they've got to realize and switch up their playstyle at this point.
I mean, when I look at that engagement, though, and I actually see what's happened there, this is actually in favor of risky behavior.
Because they got the tier 2.
They got Phoenix.
Oh, they got the Phoenix as well.
They got the Phoenix, and they didn't lose the Fire Giant. That's fine. I don't mind throwing a few lives away if the Fire Giant stands and we get a Phoenix.
Yeah, but it was really risky. It was very easy for them to just lose the game off that fight.
That's the team name, Adonis. The team name is risky behavior. That's how they behave.
Sorry.
Come on.
Venenu, though, has been a beast right now.
If it was Sanguine doing that, then I'm like, well, that's a bit risky. This should be called Risky Sanguine. Doesn't work, right?
He's got Rage online here. Looks like he's building into Malice as well. Or, yeah, probably Malice. Could be Deathbringer as well. But, I mean, Venu's been the shining light for Risky so far in this game. And Shaliber probably needs to step it up. I mean, we just need to see more out of him in these fights. And honestly, if he starts connecting, right, if he starts positioning a little bit better, because he's kind of just walking up and allowing Medieval to capitalize off his positioning, if he's a little bit safer, they could look to start turning fights. They're only 5K down at 27 minutes.
When you say Venenu, I say Venenu and IFates are the two in risky behavior right now, really stepping it up for the team this game and actually keeping them in this one for the most part. Fates contesting nicely and keeping them busy at the Fire Giant. Stopped that last engagement.
Oh, Mangoh, no. What are you doing? He's pushed up by himself.
And now he's isolated again. Round the back is FaymousHate waiting for him to come around with the whole of a Sanguine in support. He's going to get his ultimate off, but nobody's going to be there in time. And in the end, Mangoh will fall down. And the team of Risky can't do anything, but they may find Mexiety.
Oh, saved by his ult, thankfully for him. And he's going to be dashing away. And it looks like the team actually grouping up on the right-hand side. And Medieval once again going to find 3 in the jungle by himself. He's got no fear. He's taking a lot of cooldowns right now, and that's going to set up for Covi. He finds a 2-man stun. Famous takes out IFates, and the wall again. Nowhere to go, Killateral. You're done, son.
Double kill for FaymousHate. 5 members strong. The meditate comes out, so they're all nice and tanky. They don't need the Fire Giant. Now they can go and get this Phoenix. Only Shaliber here and Venenu to try and defend this one, and I don't think they can. The root goes out and the crush, but look how little Medieval cares about it. Still going in, finding the stun, finding the damage with the support of Covi on the back of that one too. They won't be able to get the kill. Venenu will get out, but everyone's still alive on the side of Sanguine.
It looks like they're committing on the Titan instead of trying to take out the Phoenixes, and it's going to be a reset. So Sanguine, they're trying to end. They were looking for the final 2 kills. They would have been able to walk in and finish off the Titan, but instead of that, they aren't going to be able to take the Phoenixes. So a nice hold from Risky once again.
So Risky, during picks and bans as well, focused on Covi. They banned out the Sol, they banned out Habwa and Zeus. And Covi goes, all right, I'll play Chronos. Now look at Chronos right now.
7-0 and 12, man.
22,000 player damage, highest in the game as well. Undying.
I mean, those two right now, right? 7-0 and 12, 19 of the 23 kills. Medieval as well, 6-2 and 14, 20 of the 23 kills. These guys have been in every single key fight.
To answer back to Zatman's tweet earlier on, why don't they just ban Sol against Sanguine? Well, it's because Covi will play Chronos. That's the answer. So let him have Sol.
Nice little Gold Fear here for Venenu. He's going to be able to pick this one up, and very important. He's probably trying to get his Deathbringer in hand. You can see he's got 1,300 right now. Could look to go into the Malice instead. But he needs about 400 to 500 more gold before this next engagement happens.
And he's been getting the red buff the whole game pretty much from risky behavior here. And to be fair, he should be doing it, especially because he's the one on the team really making an impact alongside IFates here. At the moment, Shaliber just not been able to get on the mark at all. 16k player damage, it's been crushes.
It's pretty good.
I mean, that
he's
player
picked it up in the late game a little bit.
But he's just not managing to find enough damage to burst the target down.
Yeah, and his I'm a Monsters are tickling Medieval at this point, and a lot of times that's who he's forced to go on because Medieval's been able to isolate him in the back line, force out all of his escapes. And he still gets picked off, unfortunately, in a lot of those scenarios. And
this composition coming out from risky behavior is all about setting up the Scylla and the Anhur for the damage. Mainly the Scylla in the late game. The rest is all about control and giving them the opportunity to do that.
In this scenario, though, they're only down 5.5k. We're 30 minutes in.
True.
Most of the players on Sanguine are finishing off their builds right now. Some have finished off their builds. Risky behavior, they're not that far behind. If this game goes another 5 minutes and they're still only down the single Phoenix, this is fine for them.
I think they're okay.
This is a pretty even game, in all honesty.
If they can hold that Phoenix, the Fire Giant, leave the Fire Giant up, make sure he gets defended, yeah, they'll be fine because the level 20s is starting to come through. Experience not going to matter very much soon. And the goal difference, not enough to write home about.
For me, it's really about Mangoh getting a little bit more protections online. That needs to happen right now. You can see he's starting to build into it, but there's trouble on the right.
And he's isolated and ringed in one more time. The Tremor's going to keep them pinned down as well. Fates will manage to dash away to safety, but where else can they go from there? Because the Phoenix is still down, and with one member back, they could actually look for the Fire Giant here.
That was actually 3 ultimates invested invested into that, and only IFates burned his on the other side. And Venenu, I mean, he saved the life of IFates once again with a fantastic impale into the Cabrakan wall. But this is holdable for Risky. Sanguine don't really have all of their strong engage left.
Well, if they hold this, they're going to get a Phoenix in the left-hand side for free, as well as fire minions are pointing down left-hand, so that is going to go down for Risky now. This works out well. Venenu trying to answer back. The burst of Medieval's too good. The crit's coming through. However, Khepri ult saves the day.
Venu's getting chased down, though. He needs to get out. He does manage to jump over the wall to safety, and Killateral trying to help peel for him, managed to get out as well. The Phoenix still being looked at, but it hasn't really been poked down too much. Shaliber pushed up by himself, needs to be a little bit careful. IFates is there as well, but the Phoenix does fall.
Phoenix does fall. Left-hand side Phoenix did fall in favor of Risky behavior, though, and the right one should respawn soon for Risky, so if they can actually go and take that one down, it's still Phoenix versus Phoenix being down.
And the red buff here going to be stolen away. See if it goes to FaymousHate or Covi. Seems like it's going to go to FaymousHate, so the Hunter now with the stolen red buff away from Venenu.
I'm really interested in how Venenu's build works out. I still don't get it, man.
There's a lot of power in it.
Well, that's the same could be said for FaymousHate's build, though, if not more.
Yeah, I think but Venenu, like, I have to say that those protections have saved him in a lot of scenarios.
Well, look at that. Firejang went down for free. Shaliber engaged on again, and Shaliber under a lot of pressure has to sanctuary away, taunted by Killateral to keep him alive, and Athena's ulting, but Shaliber's already dead.
That's not a good look. He really needs to be there for the next team fight. Now, IFates being chased down by Mexiety. Covi actually coming around the back, and Rachetier, he's looking for the root. It needs to be juked out by risky behavior, because Medieval's here as well, and he's got his Cabrakan ult ready.
And when you've got your major damage dealer down, what can you do? Well, you can get ringed in one more time by those walls coming down from Medieval. On point again onto Killateral. The Phoenix is under threat again as Mangoh tries to do what he can on the Hades, but has to disengage, being pressured out by the whole team of Sanguine.
And now just one Phoenix remains. It looks like Sanguine here going to be playing it safe. There's still 3 left to defend. Mangoh, his damage is pretty high right now, and Rachetier actually gets his ult off just barely. Venenu, that would have been an important kill, and instead, actually, they're going to be looking at the Cabrakan. He's isolated by himself. Crit's coming through from Venenu, and there's his ultimate as well. Needs one more tick, and he actually manages to get the kill.
And if they can keep Venenu alive, they could still try and hold, but with all 3 Phoenixes down, it's almost an impossible task.
And yeah, this is going to be a pretty hard comeback at this point. Obviously, risky behavior can actually fight Sanguine now, I think, just in a head-to-head matchup, but with the 3 fire waves raining down their lanes, it's going to be much harder to do that.
Well, the way Venenu's playing, they have a shot there. And on top of that, Shaliber did just finish off his Ratatoskr on the Scylla. So if he does find the ultimate and hit level 20 as well, may I add, so the I'm a Monsters will do a lot of damage in the next fight if he can find them.
And Mangoh's build, right? We were kind of talking about how it doesn't work being behind, but now that he's level 20, he's starting to finish off some more, defensive items. He's going to be able to survive when he gets his Hades ult off. Maybe not if targeted by 5 people, but if he busts it out in the middle of a team fight and cooldowns are down, that could set up the win for Risky.
Well, all Risky can do now is just hold on for dear life and try and hope these Phoenixes get back. But with Sanguine, they won't give him much time to do that at the moment. Fire Giant buff is still on them and fresh for a good 2 minutes left. Only Medieval, who's just respawned, does not have that buff.
And you can see he's got a Soul Reaver online now too, along with the Void Shield. So Medieval heal pretty tanky, and we've seen his damage already be impactful if he's able to isolate the carries he wants.
Just very patient play now coming out from Risky. Just all they can do is farm up. Meanwhile, in the back, Mexiety is going very deep and maybe able to isolate Mangoh one more time. And they're looking at Mangoh right now, but he can use the depths from below to escape and just walks back towards Venenu. So he's just about pushing down these lanes
Risky behavior are going to have to pick a time to fight, right? They can't fight in their Titan room. It's almost a guaranteed loss. Even if they get a couple kills, just all that damage going off in one area, the Titan's going to fall without any base health or protections from the Phoenixes.
I mean, Medieval, Mexiety, Covi, and FaymousHate on that Hou-Yi. All of them have AoE damage abilities that will affect the Titan too, so completely correct. And if they could just allow them to push all these fire minions in, the fire minions alone will do this.
They've got to force a fight now rather than later because they've waited so long. Now the fire minions are pushed up there.
Well,
and it's Killateral here on the front line. The root going to miss Venenu. He's got to position properly. Same with Shaliber. He needs to stay in the back line this time. He needs to get an I'm a Monster off. That's going to be impactful with Venenu. Oh, he just barely got away, but forced to use his purification early.
Good response from Shaliber there, though, with that crush damage. Did connect nicely into FaymousHate, but he'll be able to heal up a little bit. The Titan now under threat from these fire minions from the right and the middle lane. Left-hand side is going to be a little bit longer.
Oh, actually, 2 going in real deep, and actually, Rachetier forced to ult himself. There's the ult from Shaliber, but they're all caught inside the Cabrakan. Covi answers back really quickly in risky behavior. They're able to get into their fountain, but their Titan, it's already at 3,000.
They're already going to be able to end, and Sanguine will take game 1. It was well fought from both teams, but definitely Sanguine had the upper hand pretty much from mid-game.
Yeah, I mean, risky behavior, they finally started to, all their pieces started to click in the late game, but at that point, they were just too far behind. And even in that scenario there, right, with the three waves of fire minions and just the opponents being full build, you can't take the fight in your Titan room. You have to be the aggressors early. And honestly, that last fight might have been because of FaymousHate, right? If he doesn't find that Ricochet bounce, Venenu doesn't have to reset, and then maybe Killateral can go aggressive. Instead, once Venenu was back in Fountain, they forced the issue.
Well, one of the MVPs definitely for Sanguine in that game was Covi, who had an absolutely fantastic game on that Chronos in the mid lane, just consistently being involved in the fights and not getting caught out of position once.
And look at this. Shaliber is so distracted trying to get his ult off that Covi's just able to hit all those basics and then line him up. The second the I'm a Monster goes off, he knows he has the guaranteed hit with Time Rift.
And this is against Venenu as well, who had a fantastic game, but just positions himself well, finds the damage where he needs to, secures the kills.
I'm looking at Medieval, man. That guy, too, has been absolutely insane with those Cabrakan walls. I saw so many times he caught Killateral in the middle of his dash. That's not the easiest thing to do.
No, just preempting it every single time. And FaymousHate as well for himself. Laning phase wasn't the best from him up against Venenu. However, as the game went on, that important Ricochet at the end, you said.
It's just late game Hou Yi at this point. You can see he's got the lineup as well with the Cabrakan walls. It's pretty clean for him. And then the last push into the Titan room wins it all.
So game 2.